All right, guys, moving right along. Um, as we all know, it's crucial to create loyal customers in any industry. But in finance, where trust is key, it's especially important to build a strong community and create a sense of belonging. Get ready for yet another exciting and enriching speaker session exploring the topic of creating community, not consumers, and fiercely loyal customers. For this, I would like to call on stage Mr. Lewis Crompton, founder of STARTrading. Lewis, are you ready? Come on up. Let's give a warm round of applause for Lewis.
The clicker. Thank you very much, everyone. I'll be 2 seconds. It's a longer walk to the stage than I thought it was going to be. Everyone ran out as soon as I got up. I'll just grab the clicker. Oh, so the one I've got at home. You may have noticed by my accent, I'm not from here. Where do you think I'm from? Australia? I am offended. London. Thank you very much. Yeah, was that you? There you go. You win a prize. I'll give a prize out later on. Thank you very much for having me here today. It's an absolute privilege. I have got, is this timer's I don't think up to date, is it? It tells me I've got 2 minutes. Oh, that's how long I've been going for. Okay, got it. Right, we're in the right direction now. There we go, it's come back. Brilliant. So yes, I am Lewis Crompton. If you are on LinkedIn, please do connect with me. I've only got a very limited time today to share with you what it is I'm going to share with you about building loyalty in your customers, creating a community, not just consumers as well. So who has customers, who has clients in the room? Brilliant, every single person. Maybe you've just got friends or family members or significant others you wish were a little bit more loyal than they may be. There was a joke in there, please feel free to laugh. Then I won't feel quite so alone in this room. So yes, we're going to be talking about how you can create community, not consumers, and fiercely loyal customers. Can you spot the difference between these two pictures? On the left-hand side, we've got a group of people who are on their phones. I live in London. When I go into the centre of London, I have to get on the underground, and all I see is people disconnected from one another. What I'm trying to do within my business, which teaches people, funnily enough, similar to the gentleman we just had before, teach them how to invest in financial markets in less than 30 minutes a day. If you're based in the UK, I can teach you how to do it tax-free. Who likes the idea of tax-free? Yeah, unfortunately, if you're based in the US, it's not going to be tax-free. But if you do want to move over, then I'll sponsor you to move over to the UK, if that's what you would like. Oh, the lights have gone dimmed. We're creating a nice sort of romantic vibe in here. You want to move over? Brilliant, fantastic. I know the problem is the weather, it's true, it is miserable. I'm loving it here. So yeah, on the left-hand side, we have got people who are disconnected. On the right-hand side, we've got people who are connected. This doesn't seem to be, where do I need to point this to make it work? So on the right-hand side, that's some of my community in my house. Not in my house, we're clearly in the garden. I don't live outside, I do have a home. Sat around the fire pit. We like to have conversations, deep and meaningful conversations, beyond just the fact that we are trading financial markets. When you trade financial markets, it's you and the market, which is an incredible blessing, but also can be, thank you, it's working now, can also be very disconnected. It's a very lonely experience. So what we try and do is we create a community where people can interact with other people who are pursuing the same things that they're pursuing, and therefore it's not quite such a lonely experience. They all have other jobs because the way that I teach people to invest, it takes them less than 30 minutes a day. Who'd like to make a full-time income off of less than 30 minutes a day? Yeah? And this is what allows them to create the lifestyle that they want, or leave their jobs, or go part-time. Who actually quite enjoys what they do for work? Yeah, but who wishes they could do it purely for the love, not for the money? Yeah, who likes the idea of having both incomes coming in? Yeah, exactly. Why not have both? You can have it all. So what we're doing in STARTrading through different techniques that I'll talk to you about is creating a community and creating fiercely loyal customers as well. So traditional business models are top-down, one-way traffic, bringing people in to your lead system, bringing people into your sales funnel. First question, would you put your mother into a funnel? Yeah. You would. I'm not talking about sales funnel, that's conceptual. But think about the language we're using here, right? Where are we putting people? We're putting these people that we want to become customers into a funnel. That's not necessarily nice language. Would you put your family members into a funnel? It feels quite disconnected, right? It feels quite cold language. So even just on a level like that, let's think slightly differently. What businesses do in general is very much top-down. What we're trying to do and what I'm trying to encourage other people to do is think more centric. So business in the middle, community around them. It's the difference between top-down leadership. I grew up in church. That's a different story for another day, but we talked about servant leadership. The problem with servant leadership is sometimes people think that's them bottom up. Again, that's not servant leadership. Servant leadership is leader in the center, community around, and you serve. Everyone on an equal playing field. Thank you. Can I get an amen? Thank you. So these are the things that we're wanting to do in business as well. Now, when you grow businesses to a certain size, it may become more difficult to think about how that happens, but it's worth the energy. We like to talk about, is the juice worth the squeeze? Is the lemon worth squeezing? Is it going to get enough juice out of it? If it's not worth the squeeze, it's not worth doing. But believe me, when you create brand loyalty, fiercely loyal customers, and you create a community around that, the juice is worth the squeeze. But it does take a little bit of squeezing. So, successful brands that do this, Apple, they're more than just a business, they are a community. They've got advocates for them in their customer base. You've got Tesla. People absolutely love Tesla. They will order it years in advance before it even comes out. I personally don't really like Teslas. I don't think they're particularly nice. I'm not going to be fiercely loyal, but guess what? Creating a community also means you exclude people at the same time. That is okay. You cannot please every single person. Then you've got Harley-Davidson. There's a whole dress code around driving a Harley-Davidson. There's all gangs around being a Harley-Davidson. In STARTrading, we actually call ourselves a gang. We don't talk about community. It's just the vernacular that we use. Yes, to some people it has negative connotations. For us, it has the connotations of fierce loyalty, never leaving someone behind. Now, another successful brand. I wonder if you've heard of this person. They're relatively small fry, so you maybe not have heard of them. Taylor Swift. Has she not created a fiercely loyal customer base and community? She has, hasn't she? What does she call her community? Swifties. Thank you that you know that, because I don't. But if you think about the Eras Tour, that has massive implications for every single city that it goes to. I was reading an article the other day, and by the way, I know nowadays we say we're reading an article, and what we actually mean is we saw a video on Instagram or LinkedIn or YouTube. That's what we really say. But we still say we read an article because we want people to think that we're cultured, don't we? So when I was reading this article, it was talking about how Taylor Swift is boosting the US economy by about 400 million, it might have even been billion, I can't remember, but that much money because the amount of people, community, go to her events and spend money in those local communities. If in your local community you're a business owner with a hotel, restaurants, bars, whatever it is, anything that caters to tourists, and you hear that Taylor Swift is coming to town, you are incredibly happy. And by the way, Taylor Swift is a massive brand. She will still, as will many, many influencers online, she's more than just an influencer, yes, but a lot of the big name influencers on social media, they will still be the ones personally responding to messages that they get. So I don't care how big your business is, make some time to be personally interacting with your client base. That is how you build relationship. Relationship leads to loyalty. Loyalty leads to community. Community leads to, if we want to take it there, sales. That's what it leads to. You don't want to only create loyalty and community amongst your customers. You also want to create loyalty and community within your staff and your team as well. Very, very important you do that. How do you do that? You treat them better than they would be treated anywhere else. You make them like family. I think it's Southwest Airlines, they put their staff first and their customers second. And they have phenomenal customer service as a result. Thank you very much. Right, next one. So how can we do the same? How can we do this? I've got a few ideas of what you can do to do this. I'm going to share some of the examples that I use as well. So loyalty is bought. This is me at a social a couple of weeks ago. Like I said, I personally bring to my own home in London my students. There is no other education company within the sector that I work in that I know who do that, not one. I was trained by a man named Robert Kiyosaki. Anyone heard of Robert Kiyosaki? Yeah? Rich Dad, Poor Dad, exactly. So before I launched my own community, I actually was a mentor for him as well after he taught me. So I started my life on the shop floor of a retail store, and then I worked my way up through there to head offices whilst I was doing my master's in theology, and then I was asked to come and teach for Robert after a few years of traveling around the world and trading. That's my beginning. humble beginnings. Do not despise the day of small beginnings. Now, I invite my community to my house for social events. This is me after a conversation we had around the fire pit after one or too many whiskeys, talking about how fantastic hot and spicy Chinese chips are. So while they were all having a conversation, what did I do? I went and I bought about 10 portions of Chinese chips and had them delivered to the house. Why? Because that simple gesture shows that I'm paying attention as the leader of the company. It's something that they liked and they needed to sober up. Ticked all those boxes. Do you think they go home and they remember the conversations? Maybe. People don't necessarily remember the conversations. What do people remember? The way you make them feel. Exactly. You're my biggest fan. I love you. Thank you very much. You know all my punchlines before they even come out. This is great. Thank you very much. Thank you. So that is what you want to do. You want to buy loyalty. I learned this off of my first mentor within the Rich Dad Education Company. I saw him at events, not at his house, but at local bars and things like that. He would buy drinks for people. And I was like, why is he being so generous? Partly because he was a very generous man. Also because people remember that. They like to be bought gifts. It makes them feel loved. It makes them feel valued. It makes them feel part of something. Are you making your customers feel part of something? Are you letting your customers engage with one another as well? Think about ways that you can do that. Give a damn. If I could sum up everything I'm going to say to you, it is give a damn about your customers. Give a damn about your clients. Have that human element, have that human interaction. That is what creates personal connection. What is it that is important to them? Do you know? I know on a macro level that what is important to my students is more money and more time. That's a very macro level. But why do they want more money? Why do they want more time? If I'm going to go a little bit more granular and truly treat my students as individuals and get to know them, and I have a team that do this as well because I can't keep track of every single person in my business, right? But if you are not being the client relationship manager within your own business, someone should be. Someone has to be taking care of your customers. And I guarantee you will get greater revenues, increased revenue as a result of that. If you allow people to be part of something and feel good about your interaction with them, however small or however large that is. So one of the things that we did, first of all, I invited some of them to my wedding. So I got married 3 weeks ago. Thank you very much, yeah. It is a miracle. I'm as surprised as everybody else is in this room. And by the way, I should probably say my age. I'm 33 years old. People always think I'm a lot younger. I love being in the States because I still get ID'd here. I don't get ID'd at home, which is very upsetting when that stopped happening. Do you still get ID'd?
Yesterday.
Brilliant. Fantastic.
61.
61. I wouldn't have said a day over 59. That was another joke. This is English humor, apologies. No, that was brilliant. I love it. It feels good though, right? Do you remember where it was? What was the place? Lovely. I love that. And again, that's actually a really good example of something small that makes you feel good, right? Did it make you feel good?
I was stunned.
Stunned. Again, memorable experience. So what are you doing to create memorable experiences for your customers and your clients that makes them remember you, refer you to other people? Are you doing things for your customers or your clients which will cause them to say something positive about you to somebody else? So another thing that we did was, we've done this a few times actually because my community are kind of in general at that age where they're starting to have babies. So we sent baby grows literally all around the world because we've got students all over the world, and so we've sent baby grows all over the world branded with our thing. So this one says, Ava Rose Lunn joined the STARTrading gang on 24th of May 2023. Do you think they appreciated that? Do you think they'll remember that for a long time? Do you think any other business that they interact with sent them a baby grow personalized to the name of their baby and their date of birth? No? Do you think that builds loyalty? Do you think when they post that on their social media, I get recognition? Do you think when they post that in our private community group, other people within the community go, oh wow, isn't that amazing? Do you think other people then comment into the community group, and guess what that does? Stimulates interaction. What are you doing to stimulate interaction to build your community and allow them to interact with each other, not just you? Again, if you're only allowing them to interact with you, what is that? Top down. If you allow them to interact with each other, we are an education company. One of the things we do, which flies in the face of a lot of reason, is we do not have a frequently asked questions section. There's been a few times where students have asked for the frequently asked questions so they can get an answer to a very simple question that they may have. And I say, no, we don't have one. Is that because I'm lazy and I can't be bothered to create the frequently asked questions? Yeah, maybe a little bit. But the actual reason is because I want to create situations and scenarios where the community can interact with one another. So by not having a frequently asked questions section, but within our private app, where we have a chat thread called Still Learning, people can post into there any questions that they've got. What does that do? Causes interaction. What does it also do? Allows people who are maybe just 3 months ahead of the journey to answer questions and demonstrate their knowledge. What does that do for them? Boosts their confidence, gives them a positive experience, allows them to feed back into the community that fed into them. What does that do? That sows seeds for the person who's just had their question answered to want to feed back into the community later on. You're constantly building seeds of community, seeds of loyalty, and seeds of connection, which allow people to stay connected beyond just the reason why they're with you. One of the major ethoses behind what we do at STARTrading, the core value that we have, is to make lives better. Does more money make your life better? The answer is actually yes, it does. To a point. There's actually a scientific piece of research done, and that sounded very official, a scientific piece of research, there we go, which looked at the correlation between happiness and money. It was something around $300,000 or $350,000, any amount of money. Oh, very romantic, hello. I like this. If only I'd not got married. You'd all be in danger. No. So when they looked at this study, what they found out is that the correlation between happiness and amount of wealth over 350,000 was negligible. You didn't actually increase, and this is an annual salary, by the way. If your annual salary went above more than 350,000, there was very, very little increase in your happiness levels. Over a certain amount, it actually became detrimental to your happiness, because you then had to stress about how to manage your money and how to look after your money and how to protect your money. So yes, more money does make you happier because it gives you more choices, but I personally believe, and we were talking about this before, and you were saying this yesterday, that one of the problems in society is people are getting a lot more angry, a lot more stressed, and I personally believe that is because there's an absence of love. I'm not going to go into full preaching mode here, but people are not good at being tolerant. What's a lack of tolerance? It's a lack of love. What's a lack of love? It's a lack of connection. It's a lack of intimacy. So building community for me is about building opportunities for people to interact and build intimacy. So actively encourage community agreement. So you can see this in here. Every time someone joins our community, all the other members will welcome them. They'll make them feel welcomed. The amount of comments I've had from people who say, it was so lovely to be welcomed into the community, rather than they just pay their money, pay their fee for their education, and then they're churned through a system. One of the things that we did when we got married is we went looking for, I didn't marry everyone in my community, when I was looking for venues, looking for wedding venues, we did the usual thing. We went and checked hotels out, we checked all those types of things out, but we very much felt at every single place we went that we would have just been another wedding at another venue, and we didn't want that. People nowadays are craving something which is more intimate, something which is more unique, something which is more connected than it used to be. I'm seeing lots of nods. It's not just about the product or the service that you offer. It's about how you deliver it. It's about the experience that you create for other people. One thing I want you to think about in your own business is ways in which you can create meaningful moments. When someone becomes a client, what happens at that point? Do you surprise them by something that you do? How do you make a memorable moment for them? Do you send them anything in the post? Do you deliver them anything? What do you do that stands out for them? Now, these are some of our core values, and as I kind of go through our core values, and by the way, core values are really, really important for you to have. If you don't have core values in your business, I highly recommend you do that. The middle one is our guiding principle. The 7 around the outside are the ways in which we choose to operate. By the way, guys at the back, if I step off the stage with this mic, is it going to go funny, or am I right to step off it? Okay, brilliant. I'm going to break the third wall. These are our values, and as you read through those, these are our guiding principles. These are the way that we live our life as a company and as a community. And it's really, really helpful because anytime anyone steps out of line, not necessarily massively, even just a little bit, then we are able to correct them, course correct them. So this is just an example of some of the things. If you take one and pass it on, there's a few there for everyone here, then you are going to be able to, course correct. I do this with my staff. There you go, if you just take a few and pass them on, that'd be great, thank you. You course correct your community. You course correct your team. There you go, there's a few. Thank you very much. I feel like I'm back at church handing out service sheets. This is brilliant, I'm on the welcome team. There you go, guys, there's a couple for you there. And you don't need a load of these, and often they do reflect your own personal values. Oh, Brent, you've got some there too. They reflect your own personal values. So the core of me that flows into my business is the center and the core of these values to make life better. More money, more time. The reason I'm passionate about what I do so much, and I love sharing it and teaching it to other people, is because I know that if we allow people to stress less about money, then you impact every other area of their life. Do you know what the number one reason for divorce is in the world? Money. Do you think it's because they've got too much money? Or do you think it's because they've got too little money and that's what they're stressed about? They're not managing it properly yet. But guess what? If you've got enough, you don't have to worry too much about how well you're managing your money, do you? You only have to really stress about how you're managing your money if you have more month than you have money. So if I can change and transform the way that people handle their money, deal with their money, to the point that they have more of it, so they don't have to stress so much, guess what they become? Better parents, better partners, better lovers, better workers. If you don't have that stress in your life, you will be the best version of yourself. No one wakes up in the morning thinking, right, I'm going to be a problem today. I'm going to cause pain in all the areas of my life to all the people that actually care about me. No one wakes up thinking that. The reason people end their day like that is because they're stressed out, because they're worried, because they're nervous about money, because they're nervous about this. They're nervous about the future and the global economy. This is why I actually really agree with, I think his name was Jeff, who was talking before. If you have a skill set like trading, which me and him both have, that means you can make money as markets go up and as markets go down and as they go sideways. Do you think you worry a little bit less about money? You do, right? So these are my core values. And as you can see, one of them is that we like to be fun, generous, and communicate like a family. Honesty and integrity. We go the extra mile. How are you going the extra mile for your customers? How are you creating community? Are you breeding fierce loyalty? So, I've got 3 minutes for questions in case anybody does have any questions. I want to finish on time. I saw you come in. Anybody got any questions? Yep.
How do you get everyone in the community to welcome all new members?
Brilliant question. You will never get everybody to do everything. So we make it an expectation, but you're not penalized if you don't do it. Some people are more interactive, more social. They like to do that type of thing. Some people are less so that way. We have a lot of people who are sat in the community almost like voyeurs, but they feel very much engaged and part of it because it's an active community. So they'll read everything, they just won't necessarily engage. So if someone joins the community and there's not very many responses, then we've got some other chat groups where I kind of kick them into action and say, hey guys, don't forget, welcome the new guys who've just joined the community, and then they'll see a lot more people welcoming them. But I don't expect every single person to always welcome. Yes?
What recommendations do you have for starting like a new community if there's only a small group of people?
Smaller is easier than bigger, as long as they're the right people. So one thing what I did in the early days is I appointed people to be active in the community. We came up with concepts of excuses to post in the community. So we do trading. So we did a what would you do? That was a thing that we did. So what would you do? You post a screenshot of the chart, the financial market you're looking at, and you ask other people what would they do in that situation. Sometimes the answer is nothing, sometimes the answer is something. So think about what would work for your community that would allow them to have conversation and interaction and feedback to one another. You always come in later on, so I never answer first, never ever answer first. Because when I was doing that, I became the messiah of the financial markets, and I didn't want to do that. So I then held back, let other people answer.
And
Yeah.
this is your private app versus,
Yeah.
but I'm sure it's transferable to like a Facebook group or like
Yes.
Telegram or anything.
If it's a free Facebook group, engagement will be a lot harder. If it's a paid community, then engagement will be easier. Yeah. I saw your hand as well.
You mentioned Robert Kiyosaki
Not to him, that would be another level. Mentee of his organization, and then I mentored on behalf of Robert Kiyosaki. Yeah. Yeah.
and I'm familiar with the book, the Business in the 21st Century.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of the network marketing. I just wanted to know, do you have a specific opinion about network marketing, whether you support it or think it's a lucrative venture?
Yeah.
Just curious to see.
100%. I didn't like network marketing personally because I always felt like I personally had agenda with people whenever I would meet them socially. So I didn't like that. But that's just me. Do I believe in network marketing as a concept? Yes, I think it's brilliant. I think it's a brilliant place to cut your skills and learn skills, particularly around entrepreneurship, particularly around sales, and I highly recommend anyone learn sales. I think it's brilliant. The only thing I would say is be careful because it's not your own company, so it can be taken away from you if you do something you shouldn't do. So that is one thing that I would be careful about. But yeah, I'm a big believer in network marketing. Yeah, thank you very much, everyone.
All right, let's give Lewis a round of applause. Thank you, Lewis. Excellent talk on a very important subject of building a community. Whatever business you're in, must build community.